Whoa! Right, I'm finally having some success. Hopefully. Well, it worked yesterday. Right, so I'll just show you it running first, and then I'll go through all of the bits and the process and the whatnot. So, over here, well, you can't see it, over there's a bank of plugs and switches. So the first switch that we do, that one, that turns on the recirculating fan on top of the heater. The second switch turns on the blower fan that blows air into there. I'm not sure how important that is, but if nothing else, it provides a stream of coolish air to keep the burner nozzle kind of cool. It supplies a little bit, that's it. I don't think it's fully essential, but it makes me feel happy that it's got some sort of airflow down underneath it. Next up is, you can't see it, but the igniter is down there somewhere. So we'll turn the igniter on, which is the white one, white plug. Right, igniter's on, don't know if you can hear it. The next, I can see the smoke coming off it. At the moment we're still using the small compressor. So I'm going to plug the air into the small compressor. And that starts the air going. And then I have added a solenoid to the oil supply so I can turn it on. And it didn't light for some reason. Swear to God, yesterday, every single time it lit. Okay, that's annoying. Let's try turning the air off and starting it back up again. Okay, that worked that time, weirdly. Don't know why. It's a little bit smoky at the moment. Wasn't that smoky yesterday? Granted, of course, that the oil is stone cold at the moment. So does that mean I need more air? Or less air? Let's give it more air. Okay, we'll give it more air and see if that clears up the smokiness. Could probably turn the igniters off now. So it does stay lit once the ignition's off. Still smoking a lot though. As I say, the oil is now cold. Yesterday I'd het it up a bit. I'm curious to see if this smoke clears or if I'm going to need more air still. My flame was definitely bigger yesterday. I'm going to try more air. It looks a bit better. Okay, now we're burning smokeless. Right, first run there didn't actually go to plan at all. So, it went out after 30 odd seconds. So now I have put the oil, well the oil's already in an urn. I've now hit it up to about 50 odd degrees. Right, so we're gonna, fans on, blower fans on. We're gonna, did I turn the, right, the oil's off. So I'm gonna put the air in first. So air's running. Ignition on, and then oil. So that's how it lights when it's hot and on hot oil. Then turn the igniters off and it runs by itself. Let's get some thermal video for you. Do for that and stop. settings, change the temperature range, back to low, and shut the door, and then record another video. So this is after a few minutes of running. Obviously the door's not hot because it's just been closed. There's our hot oil. Our little solenoid, which is hot as well. Hot oil into there. Yes. So it does work. And slightly hot compressor. And stop recording. Right, so let's turn the oil off. Oh wait, I'll show you what happens when you turn the oil off. Oil off, and then it just kind of, okay, now the compressor's on. Let me just wait for the compressor to stop running before I take you through all of the bits. So in the previous video that we had it not running, someone suggested starting again with the burn tube outside, get it all set up and running and working, and then build inside the thing. So I tried that, and I ended up still doing the same problem. It would run fine out here in the open, and then I built it all inside that, and it doesn't run properly again. But I think I've figured out why. So, right, what that is in there to begin with, that is, hang on, let me take the phone out. In the previous video, we had the burner head inside a metal tube. Inside a metal tube. Let me use the torch here to show you. So basically that is that burn head, there you go, you can see it. It's just inside that metal tube with the 3 bolts holding it centrally so it can suck air up and round about itself, and then as that tube is just mounted vertically inside the drum here, little plate there to hold it up out the gaping orifice, and then that is fed via a few holes inside there, air and oil and the electricity for the igniters. And that's me iron there, a bit of pipe, and someone else suggested putting a solenoid in the fuel and the air. So far I've only ordered one. Basically it was cheap, so I wanted to see if it did the thing, and the bucket is there, I was leaving it overnight to see if it leaked. No leaks, so that is quite happily shutting off the oil supply and not leaking. So I'm going to buy another one of them so that I can just shut off the air in the same fashion. I'll flip a switch and air supply and fuel supply will stop at the same time, so it should hopefully just go out straight away without smoking like it does. And I mean, that'll do. It's not as automated as I want yet, but it is a lot easier than it was before. I can just flip a few switches, light it, and then that's it. It'll just sit there and run. Oh, that was the other thing. People said about putting a nozzle on the thing. The No Block 7 video guy, he's got shaped like a jet engine. Other David has a stainless steel cone thing that he's going to send me up, and I'm going to see if that fits and give us a nice, see if that helps the burn any, because obviously that being a shape, that's going to get red hot, and any fuel that's not been quite atomized by the nozzle is going to hit that red hot surface and become even further atomized and burned. Right, I was going to talk about price. So if I was to go out and buy a Bayran multi-fuel waste oil burner, I think the cheapest one I want to say is like £700 or £800, and that's one without a compressor, and that would still be I'd have it there mounted vertically going in that way. And the one that's got the built-in compressor is £902 or something like that, so that's £900 for the few times a year when I would run it. Let's see, what have I spent so far? I think those fan things, they're like 20 quid off eBay. The burner head that's in there, that was, I think that was 20 quid off Amazon, 20, 40. my cheap urn here. Granted, you don't have to use an urn if you use a metal vessel and a heating element, so let's just call that like 30 quid. What's that? We're up to 40, 50, 60, 70. I think another £15 for the, well, we'll call that 30 because we're going to have 2 of them. The little compressor here that I'm using at the moment, you can get one of them, they're like 120 quid. They're cheap as balls. I was really surprised that they're so cheap. So even that's only £120. And, well, you'd still have to build this anyway because this isn't included in the price of the burner. But it's a lot less than £900 for it to mostly work the way I want it to work. Granted, well, a few bits and bobs. So let's just say 200 quid, maybe 250, all in. So that's like a quarter of the price of buying the pre-made one. Granted, you're guaranteed the reliability and operability of the pre-made one. But again, as I said, this is only run a couple of weeks of the year, maybe a month at most during the winter. It's not like it's heating my home it's not mission critical. No one survives on the operability of this waste oil burner. It's just a little bit easier. Oh, I've just remembered what the other problem was I was having. Unbeknownst to me, the head of height and length of tube to your burner, the ability to siphon from it, is related to the amount of air pressure that you require. So every time I would build it, put all this in, and then I would set this on the floor, and then it would not siphon anything less than a tremendous amount of air. Like if you adjust the twiddly bit on the air thing, you could watch the oil go. It would go. Wait, I'll demonstrate. It would go down a little bit up to a certain height, and then you have to do the pressure more, and it would go up the pipe a bit more, but still not reach the burn nozzle. And then by the time you've twiddled the pressure enough that it's got to the nozzle, it's now forcing so much air through that it can't light because it's going so fast. So I found out if I set this about this height, that outlet is approximately the same height in there as what will be the nozzle, maybe slightly lower from the tank, and a shorter bit of hose there. So I require a lot less air to draw up and get it going, so I can use less air and then it actually lights. But yeah, that took a bit of toing and froing. Yeah, but all in all, it works. I think it'll work even better once it gets its nozzle on it. It'll probably even light easier and stay lit at that. So just a bit of tidying up to do. I'm going to put my urn in there. Oh, question, if you could please leave a thing down below. Why does my urn think it's overheating? So there's a thermal cutout on the bottom of this urn. I'm not, because you have to lift up and poke the reset switch. But if I turn this on, I've only got it set to like, what is that, 40 degrees, 60? So 50 degrees, I've got it set to 50 degrees, but it trips the thermal cutout every time. Is it because I've got oil in it and not water? Does it think it's empty? I might have to bypass that safety switch. I know I shouldn't, but I might have to bypass it because it keeps tripping and you have to keep turning it, well, putting your hand up underneath and pressing the button. Turning it on and off simply doesn't work. You can't just reset it that way. It just doesn't turn on. There is no power lights. I have to press the button on the bottom. But yeah, so if anyone knows why my urn is thermally tripping out, is it because I've got oil in it and not water? That's my question. But apart from that, I'm going to put it in there in that space, have it sat there, tidy up all my tools, and pretty much call this done. Someone suggested the control module for burners. I forget the name of it, and then you get a basically a light dependent resistor to see the flame, and that controls the thing. So that might be the thing, but one of them is, again, it's 80 quid for that control thing. So I'm not sure if I'm ready to spend that yet. I might actually make all of these plugs into like a wall switches where I can just fan on light and have the igniter on a timer. But yeah, right, hopefully in theory it should just like start back up again. Everything's still on. If I turn the air on, plug the air back in, air in, and then turn the fuel on, Oh wait, I didn't turn the igniters on. There she goes. I mean, that I can live with. Granted, there's a bit of smoke at the end, but that's just because the air doesn't stop instantly. Yeah, that amount of effort required in starting it, I can put up with. I can fill that with 20 litres. Turn it on, heat it up, flip the switches, away she goes. Also, if you've already got a shop compressor, you don't need to buy another compressor to go with your setup. I just needed that one because the big compressor's missing. But I also like how actually quiet that one is. Not a huge amount of airflow from the things, but it's enough that it runs for a few minutes, stops, lets it run, and I think it only runs every 5 minutes to keep the boiler going, and it's, as I say, it's pretty quiet. So, we're going to call it there for today, as we've now achieved our goal of having it basically easily turn on and off. Next thing, we'll try the code and see if that makes it work any better. Any comments, questions, anything like that, leave them down below. As always, thanks for watching.